What's up, guys? I'm Chris, and today you're watching a magic review on the Cassidy Wallet by Nakul Shenoy. Welcome to the channel, and thanks for tuning in. Please consider subscribing. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Comment on any questions that you have about the product I'm reviewing or anything you'd like to see in the future. Let me know your thoughts. Also, don't forget to click that notification bell so you don't miss a video or a review. The Cassidy Wallet is a mentalism wallet with multiple peaks, a hidden index system, and tons of room for storage. All right, guys, we have a lot to cover today, so I'm going to try to get through as much as I can, give you as much detail as I can without completely exposing things, but there's not a lot of information on this wallet out there. Now, David at Magic Orthodoxy has also done a review for this wallet, but I haven't really seen anything else, and the ad copy doesn't say a whole bunch about it. Other than that, this is a re-release now available to the public, so I'm going to try to get into as much detail as possible with this. Originally, after watching the tutorial and kind of looking through the wallet, I didn't have a very positive feel or review idea for a review that I was going to give. That's one of the reasons that I don't like doing a review before actually putting my own thought and experience behind a product and applying some of my thinking to it. So while I have turned some of my original drawbacks into more positive aspects, I do feel like there is quite a bit to cover here. Let's start with the price and what you get. The Cassidy wallet comes in black, brown, and limited edition croc design. Now, these are all made with Indian leather, which is a non-cruelty leather. That means that the animal had passed on its own before resources were used. The black and the brown is $150, and the limited edition croc leather, which isn't actually crocodile, is $200, and there's only 50 of those. I'm sure that's a lot less now. So that comes in a hard shell box. Inside you get the wallet, and then a link for a tutorial. The tutorial is 55 minutes long, and you also get a 135-page PDF. We'll get more into the tutorial here shortly. The quality of the wallet, that is one area where I think this wallet is done very, very well. The leather is really nice. Everything is very well done. The stitching is very good. Even the stitching, so I don't know if you can see this, but in the card slots, there's even stitching underneath where the slot is, which you don't see in all the wallets. So I think that's actually a really nice touch because it will make it so that these pockets can't stretch out too much or tear. The other nice thing about this wallet is I can show you everything without exposing anything, which means you can show your participant everything without exposing. So you have the front and the back. Inside, you have a window, which I chose to put my ID there. You have 5 card slots on this side. You have 3 on this side. On the other side, you have a large window, which I am using to store playing card type effect of that size. And then you have 5 more storage slots here. You have inside, you'll have your index and then a billfold and then a second billfold as well. So the wallet has quite a bit of storage. This can definitely be used as an EDC. I think that there's more storage in here than you'll need. So this is a bigger wallet, which won't be for everybody. I do have a couple others here that I will compare it to. The Orphic is about half the thickness of the Cassidy wallet, and then next to the Shadow, the Shadow is about half the thickness of the Orphic. So it is a bigger wallet. I've kind of carried it around in my pocket for a couple days. It's still being broken in, so it does tend to sit like this. But the more that you pack this thing, the bulkier it's going to be. This is probably as full as I would pack it. I might throw a few more packet tricks or mentalism cards in here, which wouldn't take up much more room. I don't want it to get much bulkier than that. I don't usually carry cash, and for the demo of this, I wanted to put some cash in here, so I have my extreme burn gimmick and then just some loose cash. I also filled the index and most of the card slots to give you an idea of kind of how thick you can expect the wallet to be on average. First, I want to cover the tutorial, and then we're going to talk about the peaks, because the ad copy claims that there are 5 peaks. In my opinion, there's 3 peaks. There's just multiple ways to load those peaks. So I don't think there's 5, but I'll get more into that here. First, the tutorial is 55 minutes long, and Nakul goes over everything very well. It's very descriptive. He covers all the peaks and the functions of the wallet. Now, you don't have any routines, but if you're spending $150 on a peak wallet, then chances are you already have routines that you're going to use this for. And then he covers the index system and how he originally sets up the wallet, but also states that you want to make this wallet your own. And then the PDF doesn't really expand on the video, but it is nice because there are a lot of descriptive pictures that kind of cover the peaks, and there's also some different handlings and advice from other people who have the wallet and use the wallet. So the PDF that's included is a nice bonus. The only issue I had with the tutorial is that at times there's a lot of lag to it, and I thought that maybe it was my internet connection at the time, until I realized that I had already downloaded it and I was watching the downloaded version. So there must have been some lag while it was being filmed, or maybe it was just on my download. I'm not 100% sure. That's just what I experienced. And the audio, there are times when the audio cuts in and out. Now, that didn't hinder anything in the sense of taking away the information. I still got everything that I needed to out of the tutorial. I still understood all the workings and handlings of the wallet that's explained. It didn't take away from it. There was just some things that I probably would have went back and maybe redid, but that's just me and it's not a big thing. Okay, so the main function in this wallet are the peaks. So we'll talk about the peaks. I don't think that I'm exposing anything in sharing this with you, because if you are familiar with peak wallets and if you've seen pictures, which I'm sure you have, then you have a good idea of where the peaks are and how to obtain them. So the first peak, the main peak, is called the wager peak. Now, you're going to get that from your billfold. So that was one of the issues that I had, was that I didn't really like the peak. And it wasn't so much the peak itself, it was the motivation to get that peak. So obviously, you have to go back to the wallet for this peak. I don't have an issue with that, but explained in the tutorial calling the wager peak, the idea was that to get your peak, you would go into your wallet, take out some cash as a wager, stating if you got their word or image right, then you would keep the money, or if you got it wrong, they could keep the money. Now, to me, that seems more like a bar bet. That seems more like a trick. It doesn't suit my style, and I don't think it really suits mentalism. I can't say that for everybody. For some people, that'll work just fine. But for me, I didn't like that motivation. So originally, that was a big negative for me. However, there's not really a designated spot for business cards with the wallet. I did throw a few of mine here, but if I want to use that billfold peak, I would just throw some business cards in here with the money, because really there's no reason not to, or why that would seem strange. So in that aspect, if you go in to get a business card for yourself to, say, do a drawing duplication, or if you want to write down your revelation, then I think the motivation is there, and that would suit my style a lot more than wagering money. Because as soon as we wager money, that makes presentation become more of a challenge, or even if you try to throw some humor behind it so it's not challenging to the spectator, then I think it seems like more of a joke, and it kind of puts a humorous aspect on your mentalism, where for me, that's not the approach that I want to take. Now, I do comedy shows as well, and there is some mentalism in my comedy shows, but I think in just like a casual performance, or in a walk around setting, I don't want this to seem like a challenge or a joke. There are other wallets with billfold peaks that I do like more as far as the peak aspect goes, just because you don't need to get your peak by opening up the entire wallet. You can simply grab a card out and get your peak that way. I think that that's a lot more natural. The other thing, the reason that they say this wallet has 5 peaks is because with 2 of the peaks, there are 2 different load chambers. You're able to load 2 different cards into the same peak area and view them at different times. So I guess you can get a total of 5 pieces of information in one routine with this wallet, which might sound exciting for some, but for me, I think that that would be really strange, putting 5 cards in different spots of the wallet. I would simply use a one ahead principle. If I'm going to get 5 pieces of information, it just seems like it makes a lot more sense to me. And I think that it seems unnatural to be, fumbling around. This card goes here, this card goes here, this will go here, this will go here, and this will go in here, and then retrieving them after, like, I don't like that. So when they say 5 peaks, like I said, 2 of the peaks, you have 2 different load chambers that don't interfere with the first billet that you put in, if that makes sense. So if you put a billet in one way or a business card in one way, get your peak, and then put a business card in the other way, you will get the new peak. Now, without saying too much, the second peak, I'm just going to leave it like this. The second peak, if anybody is familiar with the Stealth Assassin wallet, I think that you will have an idea of how that second peak is obtained. I like that peak a lot more. So if I am going to use this wallet, that is the peak that I would use. They call that the drop peak. And I have Googled these terms first before saying what they are, to make sure that if someone comes and watches this video and they go search these, that they're not going to find anything. I did do that before I chose to kind of talk about the peaks. So the drop peak, for those that are familiar with the Stealth Assassin, it's very similar. You just don't have a locking system. However, that does allow you easier access to obtain the peak. And that is also another peak where you are able to load your billet 2 different ways. I really like the handling with that peak, because if you choose to go back to the wallet, you can, with the right motivation, or you can get your peak immediately. So for me, that one makes a lot more sense. You would get your peak as you're putting the wallet away, put the wallet down on the table, in your pocket, whatever. You obtain your peak, you don't have to go back to the wallet. So that's a nice aspect. I would use that peak, and that is my favorite peak of the wallet. The third peak, if you have noticed the design of the wallet, if you have experience with peak wallets, you probably already have an idea of what that third peak is. So it is a sight unseen style. It's not the same as the sight unseen. With this, the card has to be inserted vertically, and you do risk some angle issues with this. Now, for those who understand the sight unseen feature, there are obviously angle restrictions with that. But with this, there can be angle restrictions even from the front, because it is very, I'm going to say, risky. You're putting that card in vertically, and the card is, well, do I have a card around here? I'm not actually going to expose the peak, but I'm just going to show you in reference, because it does go in vertically, I've said. The card is exactly the length of the wallet. So if you insert this card in too far, they're going to see it. Okay, so you want to be really careful with that peak. And it is only a partial peak. You're only going to see about half the card. So to me, I don't think I would use that peak with this wallet. Whereas with a sight unseen case, or even with the Stealth Assassin wallet, or other wallets that feature the sight unseen feature, I think there's a lot more coverage. I think that covers the peaks. Some might argue that it does have 5 peaks. I'm sticking with 3, which is multiple ways to load, and you can get multiple pieces of information using that peak. So I kind of see the reason they say 5, but I'm not buying it. The index system is good. It's well hidden. There can almost be 2 index systems. There's enough card slots on each side where if you didn't want to use a certain peak and you only wanted to show the wallet like this, or have have your participants see this area or this area, then there can be more than one index. You will understand what I mean. And then you have your hidden index, which is good. It'll hold, there's 5 pockets, And then if you use the billfold as an additional kind of pocket outside of the main pockets, you can hold 6 business cards, or folded billets, you could do 12. Difficulty level, the wallet's not difficult to use. The peaks are easy to load, they're easy to obtain. I don't think anybody would have any issues using the wallet for what it's meant for. Angles will be entirely dependent on what peak you are using. Some peaks have more restrictions than others. I do feel like the angles are pretty well covered with this wallet, and if you watch the tutorial, you'll see with the billfold peak, for an example, how that can be completely hidden. The drop peak, there's 2 different handlings, and I think they're both covered really well. They're both very natural. I don't think that they draw any heat or attention. Angles are covered pretty good there, but then with the sight unseen feature, there is a very good chance of angle problems there. Obviously, you don't want anybody behind you, but I've mentioned that if the card goes in too far, game over. Setup and reset, it's a peak wallet. There's really no reset. Setup, you want to set it up so it looks like a wallet, right? Whether you're using this as your everyday wallet or not, I think a magic wallet should look as close to a real wallet as possible. I guess additional setup if you're using the index system, right? You'll have to set that up with whatever routine that you're going to do, but that's pretty obvious. Pocket space. This is obviously a bigger wallet than kind of what we're used to in this day and age. But I don't see why a lot of people see that as a negative, because when you're looking at minimalist wallets versus like a bifold or a trifold, I think that's all personal preference. So if you pull out a bigger wallet, like I don't think that looks strange, just because minimalist wallets are kind of the in style right now. I don't think having a bifold is odd. I carried the Shadow wallet for the last couple years, and right now I'm trying out the Orphic. But before that, even when minimalist wallets were a thing, I still carried a pretty big wallet just because, and a lot of people still do. So I don't think that that's strange to see. So it will take up a fair amount of pocket space, whether this is a back pocket wallet. I don't think that you would carry this as a hip wallet. It is a little big for that. I mean, I've compared it to some of the other wallets, so you get an idea. Can it be inspected? A lot of wallets I would not hand out for inspection, and I say this in every one of my wallet videos. I don't think that most people are going to be comfortable going through your wallet anyway or asking to see your wallet. It's your wallet, right? And if you wouldn't ask somebody to see their wallet, and I know that you're a magician or a mentalist, so they may feel like they have a bit more of that right to ask, hey, can I check out your wallet? But I think more times than not, people aren't going to ask to go through your wallet. But with this wallet, you can show it very openly without exposing anything. So as long as you have retrieved your information out of the wallet and you want to show the wallet later, I don't think it's necessary to do that. Don't run if you're not being chased. But you can show things very openly. So if you want to show the billfold areas, you can show everything as it is, and they're not going to see anything. Even if you are allowing them to hold the wallet and go through it, I think that's odd, but to each their own. I don't think that anything in there is obvious, and there's a good chance that they're not going to see anything, although you are obviously taking somewhat of a risk. Is it a worker? It absolutely can be. It definitely has the capability of working lots of different environments. If I was doing like a formal event, I would probably not go with this wallet. I would go with something by the Secret Tannery or even the Orphic wallet. I wouldn't use this at kind of more formal situations, but casual, strolling, walk around, yeah, I would use this. Is it worth the price? So it is a pricier wallet. I kind of struggled with this at first because I wasn't a huge fan of the wallet at first until I put some more thought behind it. And originally I wasn't sure. For the quality of the wallet, I would put this on par with some of the best wallets out there in the magic community, quality wise. I don't think you're going to find a better quality wallet than this. It is a great EDC wallet. It's not my favorite mentalism wallet, but I do feel like the price is fairly justified. With the Croc wallet, if you are a person who is a collector or likes to have something that not everybody else or almost anybody else has, since there is only 50, that one is $200, so that one was more than I wanted to spend, but $150, I do think that it is justified with the quality, the capabilities, and the amount you can do with it. Positives and negatives. So the positives, it is a very, very high quality wallet. The index, multiple peaks, so you have some options with this wallet. Negatives, I don't think you'll use all the storage in here, and if you do, it will tend to be an overly bulky wallet. And then just certain things with the peaks that I've mentioned. If you can put kind of your own motivation behind it, I think that's going to be great. But just originally, the motivation behind using money and betting, I found that to be a negative. And then just this window here, like it's a huge window, right? So I don't really know what to put here right now. I'm just storing this card for the demo. Do I put a picture of my family? I don't have cards that size, so it's a little bit odd to me. The negatives and positives, I think I've touched throughout the review. So if you watched it, then I think I've covered that. This has been kind of a long review, so I don't want to draw it out any further. With that, I have done my best to give you as much detail as possible without completely exposing things, because I never want to do that either. But I did want to get more information than what I found to be out there currently. So again, this is just my opinion. I am one person. Check out other reviews. Do your research, and I think that's all I got. So thanks for sticking around, and we'll see you at the next review.